All right, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. I know we have some people in Asia, some people in Europe. Thank you for taking time this morning to join us on our reseller meeting. We're going to cover basically what we did at NAM with a few extra sort of dimensions today. I hope you find this very informative. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of new things that are happening as we are about a quarter through 2026. 2026 is shaping up to a very, very sort of unusual year, where we're seeing sales that seem too good to be true. But I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods. But it's a very, very, very intriguing first 2.5 months. I think probably the most unusual for any year that we've had since we started this whole exchange project. All right, so first things first, I would like to say that we are at a point where we I don't know how many people expected this, but a few weeks ago we crossed the 3 million transaction point. And thanks to all of you guys, you can give yourself a round of applause. When we started in 2009 with Guitar Center with this project, I don't think anybody thought we would do 3 million transactions in retail. A lot of the conventional wisdom at the time was that the internet was going to take retail online completely, exclusively, that there was no reason for anybody to buy software, which is something you could get through the internet, which was something amazing. There was no reason to buy that at a store or from somebody else's website. You just buy it from the manufacturer. That was the conventional wisdom. And I don't have to tell you guys how many times conventional wisdom is just conventional. It's not real wisdom. It's just conventional wisdom. Okay? It's like artificial intelligence. It's not intelligence. It's artificial intelligence. So conventional wisdom is just conventional wisdom. It's not real wisdom. Always remember that. Remember that today as we deal with AI and all these things that are coming. Y2K, was supposed to be the end of the world. These are the smartest people that we had in the world that said the world would come to an end December 31st, 1999, because the clocks couldn't go from 99 to 0. The banks were going to zero all mortgages. The electricity system would not be able to function. The embedded computer systems that people have forgotten about were just going to basically turn the world into mush. We're still here. And some of you are old enough to remember what it was like in 2007, 2008, 2009, when the world looked like it was coming to an end. We were facing the end of boxed software, which had, been a 20-year-old business that was very, very profitable for retailers. We were facing competition from manufacturers. So manufacturers were selling goods directly online. And not a lot of people could cope with that. But the advantage of the reseller was really always there. The advantages of a reseller are multiple. Like the first one is geography. If you live in the United States, it's better for you to buy your software from somebody in the United States than somebody who is in Belgium. That's just a fact. If you live in the United States, it's better for you to buy a car from somebody in the United States than a car from somebody in England. It's just a fact. And facts are stubborn things, right? They don't go away. If you are in the United States, it's better for you to buy your software from somebody in the United States than somebody outside the United States. And because it's true in the United States, it's true in Japan. It's true in France. It's true in China. It's just a better option. If you have two options, you buy something from somebody that's in your country or somebody outside of your country, the better option in almost all cases is to buy the thing inside of your country, even if the one inside your country is perhaps more expensive, right? All right, so that's the first truism. Second truism is currency. If you're in Canada like I am, and you buy something from somebody in Canada, you're usually going to buy on a Visa card. When you get your Visa statement, you're going to see exactly what you paid to the retailer. If it's $130.40, your Visa statement is exactly that. If you buy this from somebody outside of your country, you have no idea what your Visa statement is going to show, because it has nothing to do with the exact calculation of what the exchange rate is that day. It doesn't. It's what Visa says they're going to use as an exchange rate. So this is, in many cases, an advantage for somebody local. The disadvantage there that's coupled with that, of course, is your GST and your local taxes. But in almost all cases, it's better for a consumer to buy in a local currency from a local retailer the same product than to buy that product from somebody outside of the country in a foreign currency. That's just a truism. A lot of other factors figure in, and resellers have to put this on your website. You have to inform your customers of these advantages that are inherent in your being local. The other advantage is, of course, protection, consumer protection. If you are sitting in Australia and you buy from somebody in New Zealand, you're not protected by the Australian laws. From the person in New Zealand is outside of the jurisdiction of Australia and outside the reach of the Australian law. So the consumer protection that is provided to Australia, to Australian citizens, don't apply to you. And therefore, if you have an issue with the return or something didn't work or whatever, you might have to appeal to the goodness of that supplier. All these things weigh in the favor of the retailer. And there are many, many others. Okay, we can keep going on, but there was nobody ever stopped to think of a lot of the reason why people would refuse to give their credit card to vendors outside of their country. People just assume that everybody would be like that. And a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are fine with giving their credit card to somebody outside of their country, but a lot of people are not. And all we care about are the people who are not. That's our customers. And these customers have bought locally from their retailers. And we've seen now 3 million transactions. Now, some of these transactions are from the bigger companies. So, it might include 30 or 40 serial numbers. So we don't know exactly how many serial numbers there are, but I don't know. It's probably 2.5 to 4 million. It really doesn't matter. The point is, there are millions, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of retail business being done digitally through the retail network that said that people in 2009 and 2010 said just would never be able to sell these products. We have sold millions of dollars worth of software, as we remind everybody every time, in places that people said you can't sell anything. Places like China. I always like to bring it up because people were so emphatic that you can't sell software there. And most of the people who said you can't sell software in China, does anybody know where most of them live? Use the chat for me. Tell me, in my career, when we were launching the Asia sweep in summer 2017, 2018, most of the people, the naysayers that said you can't sell software in China, were concentrated in one country. Can anybody guess what country that was? Where do we have most of the people say you can't sell software in China? Where are they located? Anybody know? Somebody said USA. Let's see if we got any more guesses. Where these people live, the biggest concentration of naysayers, because this is a lesson also for everybody on this call. Japan. Neither one of these answers are correct. Where do we have the biggest concentration of people that say you cannot sell software in China? Exactly. I gave you the answer. In China. Now, I got to tell you something. If you wake up every day and say your name is Barack Obama, you look in the mirror and you say, my name is Barack Obama, and you say that for a year, 2 years, 5 years, after a while, you believe you are Barack Obama. But you really are still not Barack Obama. Now, you believe that, but that doesn't mean you actually are Barack Obama. Now, we've had people in Canada say the same thing. We met a dealer from Thailand at NAM, and the dealer was saying, everybody says you can't sell software in Thailand. I said, let me guess. All the people in Thailand say this, right? He says, yes. Everybody in Thailand says their name is Barack Obama. So they feel they're Barack Obama, but that doesn't mean it's true. Right? What we've proven is that the facts are stubborn. Your customers would prefer to buy from you because it's actually better for them to buy from you because they can yell at you. Simple as that. They can scream at you, they can call you, they can drive over to you. It's a huge advantage. You got to play that up when you're in your marketing. Okay. So this proves what happened here with the 3 million transactions. And what are we talking about as a business in the retail sector? It's a business that's growing. This year, Exchange is growing 10% so far. Okay. Some days you look, it's 11%, sometimes 14%. It's between 10 and 14%. When you look at all the other metrics that you look for segments in the MI industry, most of them are flat, slightly growing, but the majority are declining because we had a big bump back in 2020, 2021 with COVID. Okay, we're still sort of resetting from that. So we're offering to the retail network an opportunity to sell a product you don't have to stock. You don't have to buy it first. You just go out and advertise, sell, and then you buy, and then you take money, and then you pay later. We're offering that product, and as far as the turnover, we estimate, we don't know how much retailers sell their products for, but it's in the range of $425 to $450 million. These 3 million transactions represent. Now, that's a success story. And everybody on this call, you guys are the tip of the spear here. You are the leading sort of adopters. You are the creme de la creme of this whole system. And to your advantage, it's better nobody else knows. Honestly, you can keep it as your own little secret. But there's a lot of business that's being done. Millions and millions of dollars are being transacted, and it's easy because it's one computer talking to another computer. The only real work is listing products and advertising them and doing all the judicious work that's required to run a website or run a shop. So I'm congratulating every single person here. When I look at the 3 million, when we look back, the United States about half historically. The UK is the second biggest chunk of this business. And of course, Germany and Japan about 10%. That's the lion's share of the total amount of transactions that occur. However, if you look at 2026 compared to the overall average, there are a lot of areas that are on fire. They are growing, dramatically. And we got to cite them because, again, we always thought France was a difficult market. India was a difficult market. All these are difficult markets. Everything is a difficult market. The pizza market in Toronto is difficult. Like every market's difficult. Like what's the easy market? An easy market would become difficult because everybody would flood into it and eventually make it difficult. So there are no easy markets. So if you're saying the market is difficult, well, sorry, join the club. Every market is difficult. France is running 240% above its historic average. Eastern Europe, 293% as of right now. South Asia, India, 211% above its average, historical average. South Europe, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Greece, 263% above their average. These are areas that are really just growing. And the story here is, of course, repatriation, which we'll get to in a minute. And of course, we have the continuous, now apparently boring growth of 49% for China, 47%, 45% for Japan, 42% for Korea. Canada, that's a bit of an anomaly because there's a lot of hardware in that figure, but Canada is also outperforming its historical averages. Okay, so it's a good story. Everybody here on this call, I'm saying thank you, and I'm saying congratulations, and I'm saying remember to resist conventional wisdom. Remember to listen to your customers. Remember to watch your business. Remember to focus on your business. Remember, I always advise people stop reading so much. Like really, just focus, just read your customers. Just read your bank account. Just read your transaction listing. Just read your employees. You don't have to read so much. A lot of what's out there is just speculation, junk, conventional wisdom, spun and respun and respun and regurgitated. All right, we'll look at some numbers here. We're seeing an increase in products. We are trying to make the system a little bit more accurate, meaning we are purging vendors, resellers, products that are basically inactive. These are 10,000 active products. These are 1,260 active resellers. These are not a whole bunch of people that signed up and haven't logged in a couple of years. That's why last year we had 1,400. Now it's down to 1,259. The 1,400 people are still there. We just deactivated their account because we don't want vendors to be sending invitations to people that haven't logged in a year or something like that. The vendor counts continues to grow. We're seeing more and more vendors. We've seen now vendors that are selling very specialized products. Some of them very unique. Some of them will challenge you as far as who you think you're selling to. I have a philosophy that we should not curate so much and let the customers curate, like Google curate. If you have a product available to you that's digital, meaning that you don't have to do anything except copy and paste some stuff and put it on your website and offer it to the public. If it's made it onto the Exchange platform, if somebody set up a website and made an application and I mean, who am I to say it's not good? Let the customers decide. Put it up. Nobody's asking you to stock it. So I say embrace all those reseller invites that you have, all those vendor invites that you have. You never know. There's a product that right now is, I think it's the 4th biggest brand in the whole system that didn't exist 2 years ago. So just don't. You just never know. You're in a unique business. We're not selling ukuleles. We have to bring them in, and people have to play them first and then buy them. A lot of people use the internet to research this stuff, and they know what they want to get. So they're just looking for where they want to buy it once they decide to buy. You should have it at your supermarket. Now we look at the transactions for 2025. It grew a lot. we see a little bit of a slowdown there between 2023 and 2024, but we saw a real uptick in 2025. Not sure what the full scope of all that was, except the promos. There are a lot of really good promos uh, by who these people are. Some of the big guys had some great promotions all the way through the year. By the time we got to April or so, I think we knew this was going to be a positive year. There's a lot of business, a lot of um, good discounts, prominent products, and you guys cleaned up. You made a lot of money. Um, this works out to be about 1,300 transactions per on average. It peaks obviously in the fall, in November and December. And again, I always like to look back. 2014, we were very, very happy to have over 100 transactions every day. And one of you guys, at least one of you, did 100,000 transactions. So you can see about a little bit more than 1/5 of all that bonanza went to one person. That's not good. It's good for them, but it's like serving 100 people and um, one person gets 20 plates or 22 plates. A little bit out of balance there, huh? All right. Another reason for this is we believe that software is a kind of a universal product. And this is, again, a message that we want you to convey. A lot of what we do here is B2B. Okay, we're talking to you guys. We see a lot of data. We can't tell you, trade secrets of all these companies and resellers, but we can tell you about trends and general things that help everybody. Implement them. Software, the way you should position it, it's not just for keyboard players or composers or people working in studios. Everybody will use software if they want to be heard. Once they start to want other people to hear them outside of their family, they need some kind of software, even if it's free software. But they need to record something. They need to turn it into an MP3 or MP4, and then they need to put it out somewhere, publish it, so that people could hear it on YouTube or Spotify, whatever. Now, those people are just creators. They could be drummers that are working with other people that need to record stuff. It could be a bass player. And the reason we have this graphic is because it really tells a story. A bass player might have gear that is, similar to what a guitar player would have, or identical. Okay, they overlap. Some products that guitar players and bass players share are the same product. Bass player and singer might have some stuff in common, and so on. There might be all this overlap, but one thing that overlaps with every single segment is software. Keyboard players need them. Horn players need them. Every single person, once they get serious and want to make music, needs software. So software continues to grow while the industry continues to settle back to pre-COVID levels. Okay, this is from the latest figures that we have from the MI industry music trades. As you can see, 2025 was a little bit of an increase, but it's back to, the bubble is over. However, when you look at the exchange performance, exchange compared to 2020 is growing beyond where it was, while the industry is coming back to sort of equilibrium. And this is, again, you guys are doing this, and if you're in retail, you want to at least have a foot in the segment. And the dealers, some of you guys are very good at this. Some of you guys only sell the segment. Some of you are operating, with 3 or 4 people, and you're making millions of dollars. So you are doing better than anybody at all, even the big companies, per employee. Bravo to you. But the dealers that are really focused on this segment continue to see business grow. And we keep expecting it to fall, but it just doesn't. And I believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that the software is universal. Okay. When you look at all these segments that are in that report, and this is a sample report, of course, nobody knows exactly because nobody has everybody's sales figures, but these are from, continuous annual surveys conducted by music trades. You can see that if you put exchange as a category, mix in with the rest of these categories, it's easily the best performing when it comes to, comparing 2020 to 2025 or any other year for that matter. Okay. Exchange itself didn't grow as fast between 2021 and 2022, but as you can see, it's outperforming the entire industry. Now, when we look at our quarterly sales, because we're looking at this overall, you can see that the one thing that you could tell from this is the business, it's stable, okay? And we have a benchmark, and the benchmark really is the COVID quarter two of 2020, when we saw this incredible spike in business. And we try to measure everything from this because you always expect it to come down from this. Because people went home, they're stuck at home, they had nothing to do, and they just bought everything that you could do and make fun of home. But the business has actually increased from this and stabilized, okay? Q3, which is this quarter right here, which is traditionally not a great quarter because it's right before Black Friday. Nobody wants to spend a lot of money here because stuff is going to go on sale the next quarter. This is the first time we saw a Q3 beat this landmark Q2. So we kind of moved on from COVID. We're no longer measuring anything by COVID anymore. The business is stable. The key thing that you take away here is it's stable, meaning when you wake up in the morning, there's a certain amount of business that's going to be in your intake, depending on how good you are in your market. It's very, very stable. Most of this business, yes, a lot of it is promo business, about 45% of it. But the bulk of it is just run-of-the-mill, everyday, grinded out products that people are buying to do whatever they're doing. Okay? It's not on sale. It's just people need it. They go out and buy it. Or they want it. They go out and buy it. And sometimes it's on sale. They buy more. Or somebody who may not have bought it buys it now. But the core business is still just the pedantic sort of daily business of buying utility products that people are using to do whatever they're doing. Now, when we look at the way the quarters, because we always try to understand how things are going in a business, because we could predict more accurately based on history. So we could see that quarter one generally is 20% of the business. So when we project forward, that's how we know where we're going to be at the end of the year. So if we see let's just make a rough number, $10 million at the end of quarter one, we know we're going to be somewhere around 40 million at the end of the year. If you see 20 million, you're going to be around 80. Generally speaking, because you look historically, that's what it happens. But what we're seeing now is a sort of a general equalization of the business. So we're seeing not as much reliance on any quarter. Yes, Q4 is always going to be the biggest because they're massive sales there. You take those sales away, and you take that little peak away. It's very equal across all quarters. Okay, so as we're saying, it's a very stable business that you and us, we have created. Okay, all you are part of this, but it's stable. Okay, so we always worried. We never really relaxed or satisfied. We never take anything for granted. We didn't take any of this for granted, but I could say we look back, it's probable, quite probable, to expect that this will continue somewhat like it is now. So what does that mean for you? Get your shingle up higher and higher and higher and grab as much of this business as you can. We did an experiment. We had a release of a product that we can access the registration database from the vendor. The first day, the sales were all over the world, everywhere. The first day. We just did the first day. Very popular product. They were everywhere. I mean, I can tell you, Tajikistan was in there on the first day. Like somebody in Tajikistan bought that. Okay? It was everywhere. But the retailers, there were no retailers in Tajikistan for that product. It was bought by somebody from another place. They bought it from some outside source. But they bought it that day. So that person was tuned into the news that this product was coming out and they were waiting for it and they bought it as soon as it came out. So again, the moral of the story, do not discount your own country. Do not discount what the potential is in your own market. You do that to your peril. You're handing business over to somebody else in another place. And those are your customers. And that person in another place actually might be a pretty good retailer. And once they sink their teeth into that person, you might never get them back. Very dangerous strategy to allow your customers to get parts of what they need from somebody else. Supply them if you can. All right. Again, we have a lot of data. We have the world broken up into 20 regions. Obviously, USA is the biggest one. But again, when you look at this, as far as the actual volume of business, you could see, yes, Q4 still strong, but very, very stable. So every single day, you will get a certain amount of business. I'm telling you. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Look at it any which way you want. This is how they stack up against each other. And again, you could see when we put them against each other side by side, you could see the growth. If you extract the green line, you could see the growth between each quarter as they're growing. It's very, very similar, which again says stability. Okay, people are buying this stuff every single day. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of them are buying it every single day. This market is vibrant. This market is alive. Okay. And again, we slice it up every which way. This is a very important chart. Again, I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you guys, but we are, data wonks. Okay. We removed Q1 from 2020 because it's not representative. So we start counting from the COVID time and look at where things are comparatively for each quarter comparatively. And you can see, obviously, Q1 has always been a struggle because Q1, the very early part of it, people already spent a lot of money in Q4, so they kind of tamped down. But of course, Q3, Q2, there've been a lot of promotions. Q2 is typically very bad. It's the summertime. Nobody wants to be in front of a computer in summer. But in 2025, for the first time, we saw every single quarter beat 2021. We are literally, every part of the business moved past that whole COVID era. So that's why we're saying we're like post-COVID. We don't really care about measuring everything to COVID now. We're just measuring things based on what's happening right now and what we project for 2026. And the projection for 2026 is, based on where we are, we're going to, it's hard to predict. it's going to be around between 8 and 12% increase in 2026. 8 and 12, somewhere in there. It's going to be significant because already in double digits, and it's maintained double digits from January the 1st. So when you have this kind of momentum at the beginning, it requires a massive drop off to bring it back to zero. It's not going to happen because we know what Q2 and Q3 look like compared to Q1 historically. And we're almost at the end of Q1. So I'm saying, get yourself ready. Get all new products up. Be fast, be quick. Now, this is something that has always interested us because we are a Canadian company. I make no apologies for that. We want the service to be spread among as many people as possible, as many retailers as possible. So we've always been trying to get this number down to 33%. You guys have heard me speak about this every single year. Our goal is to get the top 3 companies in Exchange collectively together to be 33% of our business. Okay. And I would say we're about 4 or 5 years from that. Now, obviously, it's difficult because the top 3 resellers are extremely good. They're big, they're powerful, they're rich, they have a lot of resources, and it's hard to beat them. Their business is growing, so it's a question of outgrowing them. But we're not against them. We love them, obviously. But we're trying to make the system more democratic, and we want more regions and more retailers to get more of their local business. And as you can see, for the first time, we've seen a real, little bit of a dip here. We got 38%. I think this is a trend line now. We had, during the COVID time, very, very strong performance by these retailers where they stopped and they arrested the decline because they really know how to sell this product. They're integrated to the T. They're integrated in terms of their accounting systems are integrated. But now we're seeing what I believe is a permanent slip below 40. That's what I believe. And a lot of this is coming from this what I'm calling the repatriation phenomenon, where a lot of the sales that were going to the top 3 resellers are now going to individual resellers all over the world. And we actually been measuring this for a while. So we believe this is a turning point. Now, when you look at the top 10 retailers, they also it's a more of a diverse group, and it changes a little bit. So you have more people coming in and people going out. The top 3, I don't think that's changed since 2020 or 2019. It's been the same people. So this is a more diverse group, but even this group is also slipping. And I believe that permanently below 60. It's not going to go be above 60 ever again, or even 58. I don't think so. There's 4 of them in Europe, in USA, 3 in Europe, 3 in Asia. It's very well spread, the top 10. And we like this. This is a very good trend, in my opinion. It means people in Asia are getting the same service in terms of being able to buy software 24/7 online by using their mouse as people in Europe and people in the USA. It's fantastic. They're growing. As I said, the business is growing, but the other people, the people outside of the top 10 are growing faster. Now, promo is a big thing. And it's a good thing and a bad thing, okay? You don't make as much money because the products are discounted, but you do a lot more business volume-wise in terms of new people that come into your database and buy from you. And maybe those people you can market to after, and you could sell other products, or they like your website and they come back and buy something when they need it. The products are inexpensive anyway. Some companies do all these tricks, rent to own, all kinds of stuff to make something that's $69 more affordable to somebody. God bless them. But to be honest, the stuff is inexpensive. The products are exchange software is about $100. It's not a lot of money. I'm sorry, it's not a lot of money. Anybody that tells you that it's expensive, ask them what kind of phone they have. Ask them what kind of computer they have. Ask them how many subscriptions they have. Ask them where they, where they get their coffee. Okay. I'm sorry. We're not selling expensive gear. It's 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 luxury goods that are inexpensive. Nobody needs most of what we're selling. People just want it, and it's priced at a point, $100 for a compressor, EQ. Uh, when I was younger, EQ or Yamaha SPX 90, I don't know how much that was, over $1,000, and it was one thing. You could use it one time. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy into this whole thing that it's expensive. So when the product goes on sale, a lot of these products are just bought. People buy them. It's such a good price. I'll buy it. I might use it, might not use it. There's not a lot of thought needs to go into it. Just put the product up. Don't overthink it. Just put the product up. This goes to the vendors as well. Stop worrying about people. People work. They got money. What are they going to do with the money? Are you going to put it on your bed, spread it around, roll around in it? No, you're going to spend it. They're going to spend it. If they don't spend it on you, they spend it on somebody else. Stop worrying about what they're going to spend it on. They'll just spend it. Just put your products up there. They'll spend some of it with you. It's really that simple. It's not complicated. And we overcomplicate it with all this reading. Oh, I read this somewhere. Oh, I read that somewhere. Stop reading. Just read your customers. Not complicated. They want it, they don't want it. Now, this figure is very high, in my opinion. Maybe too high. Typically, this is 30%. But it is what it is. A lot of people, vendors chose to, put promotions on. A lot of resellers are very, very good at promos. A lot of resellers are integrated, so they know how to run the promos. Okay, a lot of retailers, they have a lot of experience, years of experience doing this. They've refined their processes. They know what they're doing. They know when to send an email. They know what they're. Everybody knows what they're doing. So it's getting better and more efficient. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. But this is a huge number. This is 300,000 transactions, a lot. And some of the retailers are better at doing promotions than the vendors. A lot of the retailers have bigger audiences, bigger online audiences than the vendors. Yes, most of you, honestly, most of you are a supermarket. You got to remember, you are a supermarket. You're not a butcher shop. A butcher shop, a bakery, they have a lot of bread, but they only have bread. A butcher shop has a lot of meat, but they only have meat. Some people like to go to the butcher shop, get the meat they want, and then go to the bakery and get the bread that they want. But a lot of people just prefer to go to the supermarket. They make one trip, they go there, they get all the things they want, and they go home. Some people go to the supermarket even when they want to have one thing because it's convenient. That's what the retailers have that the vendors can never have. Think about it. Sound Toys only sells Sound Toys products. Fat Filter, you can't buy auto tune and Fat Filter. So you have to go there, and go there, you have to go there, you have to go there. You just go to your place and get everything in one time. You might even give them a discount. You might give them points. You might give them whatever. You charge them in their local currency. There's so many advantages of you just basically putting up your shingle and saying, hey, I'm here. The product's available here locally for this price. Okay? Very, very important that you this message resonates and you believe it because it is true. Okay? And these numbers prove it. A lot of these are millions of dollars worth of business. These vendors rely on this money. Trust me, many of them. They love this money. This is nice money. What do they have to do? Nothing. You do all the work. You get the money. They split it with you, but it's great. Everybody has to come back to them anyway, right? But that's a massive increase from 260,000 transactions in 2024 to 300,000 in 2025. If you're not really cashing in a promo, what can I say? Maybe you just don't want to, but you probably should. You probably should find a way. Okay. Now, the emerging markets grew a lot. You saw those, the top 10, they grew 4%. The emerging, which are the people outside of the top 10, grew 14%. That's a lot. And they're selling expensive products, more expensive products. So actually fewer transactions, but more dollars in their pocket, okay, which is not a bad trade-off. At the end of the day, you want both. Transactions are great because it's a lot of different people, but dollars are good because you could do, per transaction, how much money you make in terms of efficiency. Profitability is pretty good. And the market share is climbing. Now we're going to look at these markets. The United States is in North America. Pretty much most of that is that, or there's Canada and Mexico. So as you could see, the North American freshman class has been very strong throughout. The European freshman class, these are people that are new on the system, has been strong throughout. Asia, sometimes strong, not so strong. But in terms of performance, Asia outperforms every single year. This is like the third or fourth year. Now, what does this mean? It means that in 2025, 30% of all the new people on the system were from North America, but they represented just 2% of the sales. 40% were from Europe, they represented 30% of the sales. 20% were from Asia, they represented 67% of the sales. Okay. So Asia is really we're expanding all over the world, but in particular Asia seems like the Asian consumer more and more are choosing to buy software, and this is encouraging more and more retailers in that region to make the products available. So there's some kind of demand in that market, and more people are going to meet that demand, supply that demand, and that's a great thing. Some of the other places that look small, Australia is a small place. We've been tracking them as well. But we're seeing, again, a little bit of a increase there. But this story is India, Southeast Asia, China. China's always been adding a lot of retailers. Japan a little bit this year because of Yamaha, and some Korea. But a lot of it is Southeast Asia, China, a little bit of India. Okay, these deals are coming on very strong. Now we look at sales by region. We break it out into countries now. We've been tracking this again. You can see again North America, which is United States, primarily is the big part of this. United States has been the strongest segment of sales ever, forever and ever. But it slipped below a minority, slipped below majority in 2023, 49%, and has been slipping ever since. Now, the United States market is pretty flat. I think the American business itself, the native business, is still growing. The expat business is not growing. The business that's outside of the country, external business, I think that's falling. And that's, of course, going directly into these other parts of the pie chart. So if you look at, pick any of these guys. Look at Germany, Germany around 10%. Germany is still around 10%, very stable. But you look at Japan, 6% pre-2020, uh, you know, increasing 13%. So you look at 6 to 13%, that's more than double. Okay, that's a lot. Um, and the Japanese dealers, when they log into Exchange, the entire interface is Japanese. That does not hurt. It looks like a native system over there, and that market has been also expanding in terms of the number of products that they're selling on the service. So this market's very mature, very strong. The UK market and the American market share this common problem in that they're shedding share because the external business is being repatriated. Okay, the U.S. and UK have some strong retailers that have international footprints, and those international footprints, the international part of the footprints, are weakening. Okay, Japan's very strong. I think a lot of that, of course, for the people here who are in Japan, most of that is Yamaha. Yamaha is the biggest company in the world. Yamaha at the NAMM show won the best vendor award for the last 5 years. Yamaha has really embraced Exchange. Yamaha makes a lot of money on Exchange. Yamaha is very strong in that when they say something, people pay attention. So that's been great. It's been fantastic, and they're selling Cubase, and Cubase is a strong product. Cubase, old product, has been around forever. It just has a lot of customers and a lot of market cachet, so to speak. And Germany, we all know who is driving the whole German surge. It's Thomann. They do a very good job of what they do, and they sell a lot of software. And when you look at the trend here, because this is what we put these numbers up here for, it's the same. You're seeing that the United States as a market, although it's flat or just slightly growing or slightly declining, it's basically just wavering like a wave in a swimming pool. It's shedding markets into these other parts of the chart, and repatriation is a real thing. When you look at the market itself, but in terms of sales, we believe that this is the actual American market, domestic, and we believe that the balance above is the foreign market. And the reason we can estimate that is we take an average, and this is of course just a total guess. This is a math issue. We take a rough average of all the other markets, and then we try to project that. And we believe that this is what's happening. This is why the market, despite the growth of the American businesses, we're seeing contraction in the number of resellers, and we're seeing growth around the world. And if you look at the emerging markets, this is the strongest, most solid, the most consistent growing part of this whole phenomenon over the years. Okay. You could see that Japan and Germany has been growing. UK has been shedding as well. So UK and the United States have been shedding market share because of repatriation. Their markets, their sales are trickling back home. People are not buying from those places, from America and UK like they used to. Okay. Now, when we dive into that pink area, the emerging area, the story really here is Korea. China, France, Eastern Europe, these are the growing areas. And they've been growing for years. Okay, sometimes you see China at the top in 2022. Sometimes you see, Korea at the top, sometimes other places at the top. But basically, it's been these countries. France is, of course, the big story here. Because if you look at France, we used to use it as a kind of a benchmark for the middle, sort of the middle countries. 7% 2022, 14% 2025. That's double. That's massive. That's a massive increase. It comes from just a few dealers. Here's the thing: the French market, in the United States, there's 120 dealers active last year. 120. And you would think that you need 120 people to make the market move. In France, three dealers move the market. Let me repeat that. Only took 3 dealers to move that market. Maybe 4. Is it? It doesn't take a lot to really cash in, because what happens is the people all over France, they know, okay, I can get it from this person. I can get it from this website. They just know. If all of a sudden they just found out. People told them. They found out from social media. They just found out. So now they have a choice. You can buy this from the person in France. The website's in French. You're covered under the French consumer law. You can call them and speak to them because they probably speak French also. Or you can buy from England. Or you can buy from America. Like if you're sitting there in France, what do you do? What makes the most sense to you? Buy it in France. Anything goes wrong, you call a guy from France, you yell at him. You can't beat that as an argument. You can't. So we've been working with dealers all over the world, and we have some good reps that are really carrying this message, and the dealers are experimenting, trying some of these things out, and it's working. And this is a lot of money, guys. It's money that's coming in at nighttime when you're sleeping. People going to your website, putting in their credit card, getting software, and the Visa is authorizing the money, putting it into your account. You wake up whenever you wake up, you have your coffee, you go to work, and there's money sitting there. You did nothing except sleep through the whole thing. We can't make it any easier, right? So the real story here. Look at Korea. You got to go back to 2020. Korea's 5%. 5 right here. 17. How many retailers does it take to do this? I don't know. Not more than 3. So all these markets, it doesn't require like a national effort to move a market. It just requires 1 or 2 people. Actually, 1 person is enough. 1 person, 1 dealer can move a market. And when again you look at the trends, Asia, the Asian countries are in red, European countries are in blue, Canada, getting hammered a little bit, but you can see Asia is solid, absolutely solid, strong, consistent business since 2020. It's not going anywhere. Europe gave up a little bit, but Europe is getting stronger as well. And what's strong is Eastern Europe. Now, again, this is a place that, this is it right here. It used to be 7% back in 2020. It's crazy, right? There's a war going on in the Middle Eastern Europe, but they're 14%. How many dealers did it take to do that? Less than 3, maybe only 1. So to move these markets and to cash in this money, we really want to convey to you, it doesn't really require a Herculean effort. You don't have to have a raw commission and, conscript hundreds and hundreds of people. No, 1 motivated dealer can move mountains. Now, we're not going to get into this region analysis because I leave this part is on the website. This entire presentation is on the website. So I will allow you to go through these and look at them individually, but we will talk about this one phenomenon. This is called repatriation. Now, repatriation, we started seeing this, like I said, in 2020, 2022 or so, as the message starts to, sort of meet fertile ground. People start to believe it, and it begins to resonate. Now, the UK is definitely giving up market share to France, 100%, and to Germany. So the retailers in the UK that used to sell our product to France, the French dealers are taking that business from that's local and putting it in their own tills, their own coffers. Same with Germany. Same with Eastern Europe. There are dealers now in Eastern Europe that's soaking up all the local business. A lot of it, which used to go to the UK, is now just staying home. So the UK numbers are declining because Eastern Europe, okay, is taking that local business away. Same in Spain. Same in China. The Chinese customer, there's virtually no reason to buy your software from UK anymore. In 2019, 2020, there were very good reasons. The Chinese websites were behind. They didn't have the latest stuff. There was a lot of cracked software on Taobao. If you wanted legit stuff, the only sure way of getting it is from the UK and the USA, or maybe Japan. That was a choice back then. Now, no. Many, many options to get the same software that's being sold in the UK. But now you buy it in Chinese yuan. You don't have to convert your yuan into pounds or dollars or any crazy stuff like that, and get surprised by your payments provider as to how much actual yuan you paid for that. The government of China also probably not so hot for you to be expending money outside of China in these other currencies if you have the currency. If you're sitting on US dollars, you probably shouldn't be spending your own US dollars, your precious $50,000 that you have to spend a year on some software from some guy in UK. You're probably better off spending yuan. You have an unlimited amount of yuan you could spend. You buy from a local reseller right there in China now. So that repatriation is happening for sure. Korea as well. Well, Korea has been taking business back from everybody for years. Now, Germany is losing business to France. French people who used to buy from German companies buying from France. This is why France is going up so high. Repatriation is happening. Eastern Europe is taking business away from Germany. So Germany is also losing, but Germany, it never really was that strong externally. So the amount of business that's lost is negligible. So they're still growing. They're losing to South Europe for sure. People in Italy have no reason to buy software from Germany anymore. For the last couple of years, there are very good Italian retailers that are expressing the products in Italian that you can really understand and you can read, and they have an Italian address, and you could call them up and they speak Italian, and the product's available the same instant. It's available on a German website or UK website or an American website. It's available in Euro. You put in your card, you get it from somebody right there inside of that country. Can't beat that. Germany's definitely losing to China. The USA is losing to Germany. Germany's taking them back. Eastern Europe is taken away from the USA. Korea is taken away from the USA. China is taken away from the USA. This is the explanation for why you see the flattening of the United States and the UK. Not so much flattening from Germany and the rise of these areas around the world. It's like literally a football. It is repatriation. And repatriation is, in my opinion, a very good thing. It makes our service actually more diverse. It provides a better service to our end user customers. I believe if you are sitting in Spain and you buy, I don't know, a Pro Tools from somebody in Spain, I think it's better them buying it from Pro Tools from somebody in the UK. Nothing against the people in the UK. I'm just saying, from a customer's perspective, I can't see a reason why it would be better to buy it from somebody outside of your country, even if they're selling it in euros or whatever. Or buying from somebody in Germany that both have euros. There is no advantage for you. The price would be the same. You buy something local, and the person speaks Spanish like you. The website's in Spanish. I don't know what to tell you. Why would you buy it from there unless you hate the guy? All right, we're going to talk about webhooks. Webhooks are, this is ongoing development here at Exchange, and I really want to make sure everybody gets a chance to understand what we're doing. Now, when something happens on Exchange, when I say something happens, somebody puts something on promo, somebody adds a new product, somebody deletes a product, somebody changes a price. You do not know, okay? You have to rely on somebody to tell you, okay? So they should tell you. The vendors should inform you that there's going to be a price change, there's going to be a new product, there's going to be a deletion, something's going on promo, and many other things. I'm not absolving them of a responsibility. They should tell you. But sometimes they forget or they don't tell you. And then you find out that you're selling a product that's deleted, or it's at the old price, or that's on promo that you didn't get, and you really didn't know. Now, the webhooks, you can register your company for the webhooks, okay? The webhooks, what they do is, if you're registered for a certain, for webhooks, when things happen, the system calls you and says, something happened, send me an instruction and I'll tell you what it is. So it's just a ping that says something's happened. Immediately you ping back, and it then sends you a list of what's happened. It doesn't blast everything. It just says, look, something's changed. You say, what's the change? It says, this is the change. Then you have that data. So if it happens in the middle of the night, if it happens while you're on vacation, it really doesn't matter. If they forget to tell you, it doesn't matter. You still know. Now, when you get that information, you can do what you need to do with it. It might be something you ignore, or it might be something that you act on. It is very important, very, very important that you register for this. Why? Because those top resellers, okay, the ones that are implacable, you can't shake their grip. I mean, they've been doing this for a long time. They know what's going on before anybody knows what's going on, because they have this webhook, okay? They have automation, they have integration, they have deep integration, they have their accounting department integrated with the system. So when something is paid, the accounting department doesn't even deal with it. It just goes into a box and says paid. I'm saying this is very, very important that you enroll in this. If you don't know how, contact us after and we'll let you know. Definitely your IT people would know how to deal with this and how to do it. Okay, it's part of the API. The other thing I want to mention is support. We've done a little survey here. A lot of, we give free support. We have people that work for us that are doing code and also doing support. These guys are very hands-on. Everybody that's working here is very hands-on. You can get an answer from anyone, and each support ticket has to be treated and taken seriously. We don't know what it is. We have to address it. And we did a little survey, and most of them are actually invalid. Most of them are, I can't get access to the software. Yes, the answer is the webhooks do include promos and price changes. Yes, I saw that question in the chat. Now, with tech support, if you don't have access to Universal Audio's products, or you don't get access to their promo, like the people that work for Exchange can't give you access. They have no control over Universal Audio. Universal Audio has their own portal. and they run it the way they want to run it. We can't force them, can't log in and make them do anything. So a lot of the technical support is access issues. Okay, and that's not support. Support is when something's wrong. Like I press this save button, it doesn't work. Like it doesn't save. I type in my credit card and it doesn't take it. That's a bug or some kind of crazy thing that's happened in the system. Should be reported immediately, right? Some of them are not even technical, right? And this is really for technical support. Like it's geared to things that are not functioning properly. Okay, that we advertise this page does this, and it really parts of it don't work, or it doesn't do it at all, or it doesn't do it for you, or it doesn't do it with the operating system, or something is wrong with the system, the exchange system. That's technical support. We have to address everything. And what it comes down to is the developers can't finish a lot of projects that they're on because they're, they have to deal with these. They have to answer. Somebody has to answer it. Somebody has to deal with the ticket. So I'm asking everybody, if you don't know how to send a request, we just got one this morning from a reseller that says we don't know how to send a request. Okay, how to send? We want to invite. I forget which vendor they wanted. We don't know how to send a request. Now the manual. I don't know whether they know how to read the manual. This reseller actually was from England, but the manual was definitely written in English, and there is a section in the manual as to how to request reseller rights. There's a whole section on this. I know it because I wrote the manual myself. So I'm just saying, consult the manual first, because we have to address this question of how do I send it? And we just really say in a nice way, we're Canadian after all, copy and paste the thing from the manual without saying it's in the manual, and just say, well, in future reference, by the way, there's a section in the manual on this. Okay, but this is really an unnecessary amount of work to give. So be very careful with, your credit card doesn't go through. There's not much exchange staff can do. A vendor doesn't want to give you an RMA. They can't force them. They just can't. Something's not working. Oh, you're using the old API. Well, I don't want to do the new API. Yeah, but this feature's not supported in the old API. Can you not move to the? Well, I can't do it. This is not really a technical support. You're using the old API. Like you're using it. We announced like a year and a half ago that there's a new one. Not really tech support. So I think we get the point. Now we're going to reiterate this. This is the last thing we'll talk about, because we have to reinforce this. This is very, very important data. Okay, these are sales upon release of a product. Okay, not every product, but most products. Okay, let me reiterate. These are sales of new products based on the day it's released. So day one, the first day of release. Day two, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, etc. Now, what you can see is the first 2 days, the vast amount of sales happen. The first day, actually, the first part of the first day, a lot of sales happen. Now, by the time you get to day number 10, day number 25, they're sales. They're definitely sales. But it's not comparable to the first day. Now, the reason we are stressing this again one of the most important things you can do as a reseller, the resellers that are top of the game, top of the chart, top three, they synchronize with the release of products. So if, a FabFilter Pro R5 is coming out December the 3rd, 2027 at 10 a.m. East Central European time, they have that listed at 10 a.m. December 3rd, 2027. The exact moment. And they have an e-news that went out talking about it. Coming soon. Click here to buy it. And they have maybe a video in their own local language talking about it that hits YouTube exactly at 10 a.m. And then they scoop these sales because they know by the time you get to 3 or 4 days, look at day 3. By the time you get to the 3rd day, this is old news because there's something else that's new on day 2 and day 3. This is not new anymore. By the time you get to day 7 and 8, people forgot about this. Now you're putting it on your website day 7. People forgot about this because there have been 5 new things since that. Maybe 10 new things. Product come out multiple in one day. People's attention span, in terms of attention, people want to know what's new. Everybody wants to know what's new. So day 7, it's not new. So you cannot delay. This is the most important thing you can do, apart from integration. You have to be fast. You got to be quick. You have a vendor that doesn't tell you this. So you have a vendor that tells you this a week later. You threaten to take all products off your website. You tell them, listen, you got to tell me before it comes out so I can get ready. You have to send me the data before it comes out. I got to have the screenshots. I got to have the system requirements, the short description, long description. I got to have all that. A lot of them do it. They have it on Exchange as a pre-release. You can see it ahead of time, right? You got to fight for that early information. Some vendors, and I'll be honest, some of them are not nice. They want to hold this peak, the green, for themselves. So they purposefully tell you late. When they do that, maybe you don't need to do business with them. Honestly, it's not cool. It's not proper. It's not honorable. And at some point, money is only, we're not doing this just for money, right? We want to be doing it with people that, that warrant our love and attention and care. And if that's how you're going to do business, maybe I don't even want to make money on your products. I don't need every penny, right? None of you need every penny. If a vendor's like that, maybe you just soft pedal their products. It's not right. However, you have to fight. If the vendor will do it for you, you have to fight for it. Webhooks, all these things will help this, but you cannot be late because if you're late, you lose. That's all I could say. So now we're going to talk about some dealers, and we're going to wrap it up. Some dealers that really did well this year. Ding Dong from China did extremely well. High Resolution out of Japan, exceptionally well. They had a bang-up year, a record year. Musica in Eastern Europe. A lot of the Eastern Europe power is coming from this one dealer who just taken this software industry and just made it their own. They're now actually going outside of Eastern Europe and grabbing customers outside of there. Thomann, very, very, very strong, of course, as you know. Based in Germany, they've just become one of the top 3, and they're continuing to do very, very well. The resale of the year definitely this year was Gear for Music out of England, the UK. They had absolutely stellar year. Their growth was enormous. These guys already got their trophy back at the NAM show. We handed it out, and big congratulations to them. This was a company that wasn't the first. This is a brick and mortar company with a big store up in New York, in the northern part of England, that gradually came into the business. They started modestly, piece by piece, and they dedicated a couple people inside the company. And now this is a very, very important part of their business. They serve thousands, tens of thousands of English people. The tools that they need, they get it from here. And they started to do promotions and content and things like that. It's a wonderful story. So congratulations to them. So thank you very much for your time, guys. It's 11:31. Have a very nice day, and remember a lot of stuff that we said. And please, we're gonna put the link for this presentation, all the detail with the regions and things like that. They're on the website, actually, on the exchangemarket.com website. And we'll post that so that all of you could go in there and look at your region and see what's happening in terms of dealers. A lot of this is, we worry a little bit about putting it all out there, but you know what? You guys are in the machine. I think it's better to have this information than to hide it. So look at your region, see what's going on. A lot of you who are on here in your top 5 anyway. Okay, so take care, and I'll see you guys in a month.